the diversion didn't work. It was not what we expected.
Created in 1956, the Kaituna Cut diverted the flow of water away from the Maketū River so surrounding areas could be farmed, but it didn't go as planned. Aroha Wilkinson is the last remaining member of the Maketū Action Group. Formed in the 1970s, the group tirelessly campaigned to return the Kaituna River to the Maketū estuary.
From 14 culverts, we were told in the beginning, to 4. They ran out of money because they spent it on a study again, which had been done time and time again, studies.
It didn't take locals long to notice something was wrong with the estuary.
It was getting shallower and shallower, and we were losing the natural runoffs, coming down. We only had one left. And that's when my husband said, we've got to do something. And we made inquiries all over the place before we actually started the campaigning. Found out everything, the feelings from people. We did all the MRIs to get their permission to do it. And all of them said that they weren't interested in the river. It was Maketū's river to look after, not theirs. Even the local people sort of had enough by then and just told us to do what we're going to do, and probably won't happen. They were, what do you call it? Disheartened, absolutely disheartened.
It took the group 5 years before it got the opportunity to make its case to the government in Wellington in 1984.
When we went to government, my husband said, we're not going to go by the busloads, just us going. We went into Parliament and everybody threw questions at us and we answered them. And we were taken to dinner and they said that it was all finished, their questioning. And then we went back in and that's when they said to us, we have to come to Maketū and find out what the river is like. We said, we don't know anything just by questions and answers. He said, we've got to come and see it for ourselves. Is there anywhere you can put us up? And I said, well, if you can sleep on the floor, you can stay in the marae and we'll feed you. They said, done. So they came.
After being shown around the river and hearing about its history, the government agreed to a rediversion in 1988.
So we got a letter from them saying that they're going to be starting on Monday, the regional council, that they've been allocated so much. And then unbeknown to us, they started doing research work again. And then we were told after a while, when they'd spent quite a bit of money, that they were going through the money and it wasn't on the river, it was on studies. So that's when we rang government and told them. And they put an injunction on the money. And they said, do the actual job. That's what it was for. The money was allocated to put the river back, not for studies.
It was about the same time as the regional council finished its study of the river and presented it to the group.
All wrong. There's hardly anything that was right. They described an island down here. It wasn't an island. It was mangroves. Where they got all that from. And we told our anthropologists that we're not even going to bother going to the meeting. How do we stop that book from being published? He said, you've got to go to the meeting. And we said, what are we going to do when we get there? He said, sit there and you listen to the meeting and you let them finish, and when they ask for questions, you walk out, all of you. Oh, and we said, and what happens then? He said, the book doesn't get recognised and it doesn't become fact. And they have to redo it. They have to do what you fellas want. So that's what we did. Then the Bay of Plenty Time started helping us. Then we got the culverts.
Looking back, Aroha says the hardest part to deal with was the lack of support from some of the locals.
They were never interested in helping with the river. We didn't want monetary help, we wanted physical help. And they were really negative about it. Our own people. There was a lot of, they weren't interested. And now, wherever you go, I can walk into a meeting. All those people that are sitting in the marae are the very ones that never ever wanted anything to do with the return of the river, to bringing it back. And now they got a cheek to stand there and start talking about the river. And that, to me, is yeah, that part hurts, because none of these ones see it now.
But there were plenty of high points along the way too.
The most memorable part of all this is the people that got their thesis from the river. They were at the Polytech in Tauranga. My husband used to go in and talk to them. They asked if he could talk about the river at their seminars. And the memorable times to me was they used to come here to thank him.
A happy ending is within reach, with the first stage of the rediversion due to open in the coming months.
It is happy now. Probably the opening would be shortly. It's going well before time. So yes, it is. It is a happy ending.